You know that feeling? That little knot right there in your stomach when someone asks you for something?
Oh,
Could be big, could be small. And deep down, you really want to say no. But like, before you can even think, before you can really weigh it up, a yes just sort of popped out.
that automatic yes.
Or maybe you look at your calendar, your to-do list,
Yeah.
all the stuff filling your head. And you just feel completely swamped, totally overwhelmed, buried under all these things, and then it hits you. A huge chunk of it isn't even yours to carry.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
That cascade of commitment. I know exactly what you mean. It's so common, and it often leaves you feeling just drained, trapped almost.
Yeah.
That discomfort when the request comes in and the immediate response is just compliance.
Yeah.
Even when everything inside you is screaming, no, that's too much, or
Yeah.
that's just not right for me now.
Exactly. So this deep dive, that's what it's all about. That feeling, the struggle, the real struggle to say no without feeling like you're letting people down or feeling selfish maybe, or worrying you're risking relationships or, opportunities. And crucially, why getting a handle on this skill saying no isn't just like a nice little life hack. It's actually essential, fundamental for your well-being, your effectiveness, and finding some real peace of mind.
Yeah, in this world that demands so much of us.
Right. We've really dug into a lot of material for the SWAN research, articles, expert notes, trying to unpack why that tiny two-letter word no feels so incredibly heavy sometimes.
And we're aiming to go beyond just understanding why it's hard, right?
Okay.
We'll look at the hidden costs,
Yeah.
the real impact of always saying yes when maybe you shouldn't. Then we'll flip it, look at why saying no is actually powerful, positive even.
Okay.
And finally, we'll get practical, share some actionable ways drawn from all this material on how you can actually start saying no, building those boundaries, doing it assertively, respectfully, and hopefully without all the guilt.
Okay, let's do it. Let's unpack this first big question. Why? Why does saying no feel so incredibly difficult for so many of us? What are those deep roots making the automatic yes feel so default?
Well, for starters, something that comes up a lot in the sources is that for some people, it's almost instinct, like a natural yes reflex. Maybe it's rooted in just wanting to be helpful, you know? Or sometimes cultural backgrounds where saying no directly feels impolite. It gets tangled up with being seen as a good person.
Right, wanting to be seen as willing, committed, someone who pulls their weight, a team player. That's huge, isn't it? Especially at work or maybe in new social circles where you're trying to make a good impression. You feel that pressure, like you have to take on anything just to prove you're valuable.
Absolutely. And a massive part of that, it's mentioned again and again, is this deep fear. Fear of disappointing people, fear of not being liked. Whether it's your boss, a colleague you need to work with, a close friend, there's this worry. If I say no, will they be upset? Will they think less of me? Could it actually damage the relationship? That fear of social rejection, it's a really powerful driver, or maybe a demotivator for saying no.
And it's not just about being liked right now in this moment, is it? Some sources also mentioned worrying about the future. Like say your manager asks for an urgent favor, something that really stretches you thin. You worry saying no might make you look, I don't know, incapable, unsupportive, like you can't handle pressure.
Exactly.
And that could affect promotions, opportunities down the road. That perceived risk. It can make a yes feel like the only option, even if it's bad for you.
That perceived risk feels very real for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But there's another layer too, according to some of the insights we looked at. It's this ingrained belief that being nice or being kind just means always saying yes.
Yeah.
And this basically confuses genuine kindness, which involves thinking about your needs too, with just being a pushover. It's really about neglecting yourself to constantly accommodate others. They're very different, but we mix them up all the time.
Yeah, that's a good distinction. And sometimes it's not even that we don't want to help, right? Sometimes you genuinely do want to step up. You see the need, but maybe you just don't have the bandwidth, the time, the energy. Maybe you don't even have the right skills for that particular thing.
Right.
And that feeling, that inability to deliver when you wish you could,
Yeah,
that feels uncomfortable too.
definitely.
So saying yes, even when you know deep down you can't really manage it well, sometimes it's just a way to dodge that immediate discomfort of admitting your limits.
Precisely. Avoiding the awkwardness, right? Avoiding the potential questions or what feels like it might be conflict if you have the no conversation. In that moment, saying yes often just feels like the easier path, the path of least resistance. But really, you're trading that short-term discomfort of saying no for the much longer-term pain and stress of being overcommitted and totally overwhelmed.
And one source really highlighted something deeper, didn't it? That sometimes the struggle comes from like ingrained people-pleasing tendencies or even past experiences.
Yes, absolutely. If for me, say, growing up or in past relationships, setting a boundary or saying no actually led to negative stuff, punishment, maybe, or someone pulling away, withdrawing affection, feeling abandoned,
Yeah.
your brain can create this really strong link, saying yes equals safety, equals acceptance. And that can hardwire a pattern that's incredibly tough to break later on.
That's a really important insight, how our past can condition us like that. And there was that fascinating bit of research mentioned too, suggesting it can play out differently for different groups.
Yeah, that was interesting. It indicated that women, for instance, might be asked more often to volunteer for tasks that, aren't really going to get them promoted. And then they might feel a greater sort of psychological burden or social pressure to say yes to those things compared to men who might perhaps more readily weigh that request against, well, how does this help my time or my career directly? And look, this isn't about saying people are inherently different, but more about how societal expectations and workplace dynamics can actually shape these yes patterns.
Wow, okay. That's really specific and definitely shines a light on how external stuff plays into this internal battle. So, okay, we've explored why it feels so monumentally hard to say no. Now let's flip that coin. Let's talk about the other side. What's the actual real cost of constantly saying yes, especially when that little voice inside is yelling no, because like you said, it's way more than just feeling busy.
Oh, profoundly more. Yeah, one of the biggest costs, and maybe the sneakiest one, is that when you say yes to others, you are almost always, by definition, saying no to yourself.
Saying no to yourself. Can you break that down a bit? What does that actually look like day to day?
Well, it means saying no to your own basic needs. Saying no to the things that actually recharge you, self-care stuff. Saying no to your personal time, time for exercise or hobbies, or just plain rest. Saying no to quality time with family, with people you love. One source used this great phrase, the helping hiatus idea.
Helping hiatus.
Yeah. If the way you're helping someone else is actually causing you harm or significant depletion, draining your energy till you're exhausted, sacrificing your own well-being or relationships, then that act of helping, well, it isn't really sustainable or healthy, is it? You're basically putting yourself on hiatus.
I can't go for that walk, go to the gym because I have to stay late and help with this project. Or, yeah, I missed my kids' game because I took on that extra committee thing I didn't really want. You just see your own stuff, your own needs, getting shoved further and further down the list.
Precisely. And this pattern, this cascade of saying no to yourself, it leads straight to the next huge cost, chronic stress, feeling constantly overwhelmed, and eventually, burnout.
Right.
Constantly taking on more than you can handle, more than you actually have capacity for. It leads to overcommitment, which makes it incredibly hard, maybe impossible, to prioritize anything properly.
Your personal time just vanishes.
It evaporates. And this relentless pressure, it leads to deep physical and emotional exhaustion.
And this isn't just like a feeling, right? The sources actually link this chronic overcommitment to real physical symptoms.
Oh, they absolutely do. It shows up in your body. Constant stress, leading to burnout symptoms like persistent headaches, maybe digestive problems, trouble sleeping.
Insomnia.
A weaker immune system even. And critically can seriously contribute to or worsen mental health challenges like anxiety and depression. Your physical health and your mental health. They aren't separate from your capacity or your ability to set boundaries. They're totally linked. Neglect one, the other suffers.
Okay, this next cost. It feels a bit backwards, doesn't it? Because you'd think saying yes all the time would help relationships. But the material we reviewed suggests constantly saying yes can actually damage them.
It can, yeah. And this is where it gets complex. The fear is saying no will hurt the connection. But the reality, constantly saying yes, especially when you secretly resent it, leads to this simmering resentment building up inside you. You start feeling taken for granted, unappreciated maybe.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that unspoken resentment, it just erodes trust. It causes communication to break down over time. In more extreme cases, a chronic inability to say no. That can make you vulnerable. Vulnerable in toxic relationships where others basically learn they can exploit your lack of boundaries without any pushback.
Wow.
Eventually, you might look around and realize you've kind of lost your sense of self in that dynamic.
And
defined only by what you do for other people.
you lose yourself.
Right.
Wow. And tied into all this, there's a big hit to productivity, right? I remember that James Clear quote from one of the sources. He puts it so bluntly: more effort is wasted doing things that don't matter than is wasted doing things inefficiently.
That's such a key insight, isn't it? When you say yes to everything that comes your way, you are by default saying no to everything else you could have been doing with that time and energy.
Right.
Every yes is a no to something else. It's like taking out a loan on your future time, committing future resources to stuff that might not even align with your real goals or values.
Time debt. I like that framing.
Yeah. And learning to say no, practicing elimination, cutting out tasks or requests that don't truly serve you or your main priorities, that's often a much, much more powerful productivity tool than just trying to get faster at doing all the things you've already agreed to. Mm-hmm. It's really about making sure you're doing the right things, not just doing more things.
Okay. So the costs are huge, really far-reaching. Sacrificing our own time and needs, leading to stress, burnout, damaging our physical and mental health, potentially hurting the very relationships we're trying to protect, and even making us less productive. That is a really heavy price to pay.
It really is.
So if the cost is that high, let's talk about the flip side again. Why is saying no so fundamentally essential for our well-being, our mental health, and maybe paradoxically, even for our success?
At its absolute core, it's an act of self-preservation and self-care. That came through strongly in the resources. Mm-hmm. Saying no creates this necessary protective shield. Yeah. It guards your most valuable non-renewable resources, your limited time, your finite energy, your precious mental and emotional space. Mm-hmm. It's not about being selfish. It's strategic. It lets you consciously choose where to put those resources, to put them into activities that actually recharge you, nourish you, sustain you, whether that's, meditation time, regular exercise, a hobby you love, or simply getting enough rest to function well.
It's like that oxygen mask analogy you hear. Put yours on first before you try to help anyone else. That popped up a few times. It's the perfect analogy. You simply cannot effectively support or help or be truly present for others if you're running on fumes, if you're totally depleted or burning out. Self-care isn't a luxury item. It's a basic necessity for being able to contribute sustainably to anything or anyone else.
Yeah.
And setting boundaries, which saying no is the key part of, is a core piece of that essential self-care.
And the sources also pointed out it boosts self-esteem and respect, both from yourself and, maybe surprisingly, from others.
Absolutely. Think about it. Every time you successfully set and hold a boundary, right, every time you give a clear, kind no to something that just doesn't work for you, it's a powerful act of self-respect. It sends this undeniable message to yourself: my needs matter, my limits are valid, my time and energy deserve protection.
And doing that consistently, over time, it builds your confidence. Mm-hmm. You start feeling more in control of your life, more aligned with your own values, and that naturally translates into higher self-esteem. And ironically, maybe paradoxically, people who actually have clear, healthy boundaries, they often command more respect from others in the long run.
That makes sense. And you touched on this earlier, but saying no directly improves focus and productivity. How does that link work again?
It's powerful because saying no acts like the ultimate filter. Saying no to the distractions, the requests that don't really align with your main goals, your key responsibilities, or your deepest values, it protects that critical asset. Mm-hmm. Your limited time and attention. Mm-hmm. Like James Clear pointed out, it lets you filter out the 100 merely good ideas or requests so you can pour your energy into the few that are truly great, the ones that actually move you forward. It's about concentrating your effort where it counts most.
Focus. Got it. And finally, that counterintuitive one again. It actually builds healthier, stronger relationships.
Yes, this is so key. Think about boundaries, not as walls to keep people out, but more like property lines. They define where your space is and where the other person's space begins. It creates clarity.
Okay.
Clear boundaries, which rely on being able to say no when needed, are the absolute bedrock of mutual respect in any healthy relationship, personal or professional. When your limits are clear, it actually reduces misunderstandings. It stops that resentment from building up, like we talked about.
Or it prevents the simmering anger.
Exactly. And ultimately, it leads to more authentic connections, more fulfilling ones, based on understanding, respecting each other's needs, a real sense of partnership, rather than just obligation or feeling taken advantage of. One article called it creating balanced, respectful space, which I thought was perfect.
Balanced, respectful space. I like that. Okay, so the picture's really clear now. It's tough to say no because of all these deep fears and beliefs. But the cost of not saying no is incredibly high for our health, our relationships, our effectiveness. And the benefits of mastering this skill, they're huge for our well-being and our ability to actually thrive. So this is the big one. How do we actually do it?
Yeah.
How do we start mastering this art of saying no and hopefully learn to do it without that horrible wave of guilt washing over us?
Yeah, the million-dollar question. Well, the first thing to remember is that this is a skill. It's not some innate trait most people are born with. And like any skill, it gets better with practice.
Okay.
So the first step, maybe the most fundamental one from the self-reflection angle in the sources, is really getting clear on your own needs, your limits, your values, what truly drains your energy, what commitments make you feel uneasy, just thinking about them. What are your absolute non-negotiable priorities that need protecting?
So self-awareness first.
Absolutely. And one source had a great little tip. Listen to your body. When a request comes in, does it immediately feel heavy in your gut or does it feel light? Your physical reaction is often a clue, even before your logical mind catches up.
Listen to your gut. Okay. And then where do you start practicing? Do you just jump in the deep end?
Definitely not. Start small. This isn't about tackling your scariest no first. Practice saying no to smaller things, lower stakes requests, or maybe practice with people in your life who you know are generally more understanding and supportive.
Build up the muscle.
Exactly. Each small no you manage to deliver and navigate successfully.
Yeah.
It builds your confidence. It makes the next one feel a tiny bit easier. Practice genuinely lessens the discomfort over time.
Yeah.
It actually helps rewire that automatic yes response.
Okay, so when you do say no, how do you phrase it? Do you need a big, long explanation, lots of excuses?
The sources were really consistent on this.
Yeah.
Keep it clear, concise, and polite. You usually do not need lengthy justifications or elaborate excuses. Often that just weakens your position, maybe even invites a negotiation.
Right.
In many situations, honestly. No can be a complete sentence, delivered kindly but firmly.
No, just no. That feels really powerful just hearing it.
It really can be. And there are simple, assertive phrases that work well. Instead of some long story, maybe try something like, "Thanks so much for asking, but that isn't going to work for me right now."
Simple.
Or, "I really appreciate you thinking of me, but I'm fully committed already and just can't take anything else on." Or for social stuff, just, "I won't be able to make it this weekend." Clear, polite, done.
And tied into that, avoiding the over-apologizing trap.
Crucially, yes. Remember, you haven't actually done anything wrong by protecting your time or energy or boundaries. Politeness is good, but those excessive apologies, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I feel awful, I wish I could," but they can undermine your no. Make it sound like you're unsure or maybe open to being persuaded or guilt-tripped. Better to start with appreciation. "Thanks for the invitation. I appreciate you asking." And then state your boundary clearly but kindly. Don't apologize for having needs or limits. They're valid.
And resist that temptation to leave the door slightly open if you don't really mean it, like adding a maybe next time.
Exactly. Don't say "maybe next time" or "I'll think about it for the future," just to soften the blow in the moment. If you actually have zero intention of ever saying yes to that thing.
Right, that just kicks the can down the road.
It does. It delays the inevitable, creates false hope, and honestly, it's less respectful in the long run than just a clear, kind no now. Be confident in your decision. Close the door politely but firmly.
Okay, but what if you get put on the spot? Someone asks you right then and there, and you feel that immediate pressure to just say something.
Yes, the ambush request. This is where the delay strategy becomes your absolute best friend. Remember, you don't have to answer immediately. Buy yourself some thinking time.
Like what? What could you say?
Simple phrases work wonders. "That sounds interesting. Let me check my schedule and capacity and get back to you by, say, the end of the day." Or, "I need a moment to think about that and see if I have the resources. Can I let you know tomorrow?"
Okay, that feels manageable.
It is. It's perfectly reasonable. And it allows you to make a thoughtful decision based on your actual situation and priorities. Instead of just blurting out a pressure-fueled yes that you'll probably regret later, one source even suggested asking yourself during that delay, "If I absolutely had to do this today, given everything else I've got on, would I agree?" Often the answer is a swift no, which really clarifies things for your actual response.
That's a great little mental check. Okay, and then dealing with the guilt after you've said no.
Yeah.
Because that's huge for so many people.
It really is. Acknowledge the guilt when it pops up, sure, but don't let it drive your decisions or make you backtrack. Try to reframe it. See that guilt not as proof you did something wrong, but maybe as a sign that you're actively challenging old, unhelpful patterns, like people-pleasing or always putting others first.
In fact, it's a sign of growth.
Exactly. Prioritizing your own well-being and health is growth. It's maturity. So use some positive self-talk. It's okay to prioritize my needs. I'm allowed to have boundaries. Saying no here means I'll have energy for X, Y, and Z, which are important to me.
Remind yourself why you said no.
Yes. Remind yourself of the positive outcome you're creating for yourself. And hey, if the guilt feels really overwhelming or just won't quit, reaching out for support, understanding friends, family, maybe even a professional can be incredibly helpful. You don't have to navigate it alone.
Good point. And finally, one of the most powerful tips we came across. Focus on your yes.
Yes. This completely flips the perspective, doesn't it? It becomes so much easier, so much more motivating to say no to something you don't want or shouldn't be doing. When you have a really clear picture of what you are saying, a stronger, more intentional yes to instead.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Saying no to that extra committee work that drains you might mean saying a stronger yes to protected time for that high-priority project at work.
Yeah.
Or maybe it means saying yes to actually being present and not mentally checked out during dinner with your family.
Okay, I see.
Saying no to that social event you feel obligated to go to means saying yes to much-needed rest, or yes to working on that personal passion project you keep putting off, or yes to just having quiet time to recharge your battery.
So visualize the positive thing the no creates space for.
Precisely. Visualize that positive yes, the space, the energy, the peace it brings. Use that image to strengthen your resolve when you need to say no. Remember, when you say no to something that doesn't serve you, you are actively creating space for the yeses that truly matter, the ones that bring you energy, fulfillment, and hopefully more peace.
So we've really covered a lot of ground here. We've journeyed from understanding why saying no feels so incredibly hard, rooted in those fears, beliefs, maybe even past experiences. We've shone a light on the very real, significant costs of just constantly saying yes, that drain on our time, the toll on our health via stress and burnout, potential damage to relationships, hitting our ability to focus.
Yeah, the downsides are serious.
Then we explored the huge benefits of setting boundaries by saying no. It's vital self-preservation, self-care, boosts self-esteem, commands respect, sharpens focus, enhances productivity, and it's the foundation for healthier relationships.
Absolutely.
And finally, we armed you with some really practical, actionable ways drawn from all those sources to start mastering this skill, step by step. Self-reflection, starting small, using clear language, the delay strategy, reframing guilt, and that powerful idea of focusing on your yes.
Ultimately, as this whole deep dive has shown, learning to say no, it's not about being difficult or unhelpful or selfish, not at all. It's fundamentally about conscious self-preservation. It's about self-respect. It's about making deliberate choices about how you invest your most precious, finite resources, your time, your energy, your mental space. It really is the essential skill that allows you to carve out a life that feels more balanced, less stressful, more productive, and honestly, profoundly more joyful. A life that's actually aligned with your needs and priorities.
It really does feel like the cornerstone, doesn't it? The absolute foundation for effective self-care and real personal fulfillment. If you can't protect your own space and energy, everything else you try to build just feels wobbly, unstable.
It truly is that oxygen mask principle, just put into powerful everyday practice.
So here's a thought for you to take away from our deep dive today, something to maybe mull over this week. Consider just one small request. One minor commitment, one little thing you tend to say yes to, maybe out of habit, maybe out of discomfort. What might happen if you chose just once this week to bravely say no to that one thing? And maybe more importantly, what positive, energy-giving yes might that tiny brave no create space for in your life?